I gotta say something about this shit, bro. Dwayne Wade, you going too fucking far, dog. That is a male, a 12-year-old. At 12, they don't even know what their next meal gonna be. They don't have shit figured out yet. He might meet a woman, anything at 16, and fall in love with her. But his be gone. How you gonna, like, bro? You going too far, dog. Don't cut his off, bro. Like, bro, for real. If he gonna be gay, let him be gay. But don't cut his off, bro. Like, don't address him as a woman, dog. He's 12 years old. He's not up there yet. He hasn't made his final decisions yet. Don't cut his off, Dwayne Wade, bro. You tripping, dog. You tripping, dog. You tripping, dog.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I think the only that you should be worried about is the one that's in your pants. But Boosie always has an unsolicited opinion about something. But tonight we're asking you, what would you do if your child came to you and said they believe they were the wrong sex and wanted an operation? Now, science has advanced to the point where men can become women and vice versa. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. Today, we're exploring what it's like to be the parent of someone who's transgender. Up next on Truth Talks.
All right, Truth Tellers, welcome to the show. In the words of Andre 3000, I'm just too chill right now. I'm host Ryan Cameron, because it's cold as hell in the ATL right now. We just had several days of snow, just 2 inches, but you know how we do. As always, we got our other co-host, Willie the Snowman, Willie Moore Jr.
Indeed. Come on, the man with the big hat who can do what he does. Family, I'm excited about tonight. We're going to have a real great conversation, and I'm glad that you're here today.
And, of course, the Ice Princess, Bree Renee, with her Bree Hive.
What's up, Bree Hive? I'm just missing a little bit more ice. I'm ready to be iced out. You feel me? But you already know we're going to get into it and keep it all the way real tonight.
And the person who some people say might be behind all of this weather, it is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Y'all ain't nothing, boy. What's up, Doc Scott? It's your favorite doc, Dr. Bryant. We're going to cover a topic tonight that has a lot of different perspectives, probably a lot of unpopular opinions. We want y'all to go in the comments. We want y'all to be in the chat. We want to hear what y'all have to say about it. It's a real sensitive subject, but we're about to just go there. So, yeah.
So we're diving deep into the topic of transparenting and all the untold layered stories that come with that journey. But first, Willie, you got to tell them what's going on with our trending truths. We got another Black First.
Come on. Congratulations are in order. Ryan, congratulations to the head coach of the Notre Dame football team, Marcus Freeman. He is the first Black head coach.
Yeah.
Come on. And first head coach of Asian descent. Yes. And man, listen, to make it to the College National Football Championship and win the entire game, listen, Freeman will be playing against his school he attended, the Ohio State University, for the championship. And this is one of the most sought after games that's about to be cracking. Of course, internet trolls said the media needs to stop making everything about race. And why is it important to put out that Freeman is a Black head coach to make it to the championship game in 156 years? Listen, America, 86.8% of all college football coaches are white men. And when you see those numbers and you see somebody rise from the ashes, came out of the dust, we can't help but celebrate.
Come on.
My brother Freeman, I'm excited about it.
I agree
And not
with
only
you,
that, but I think anytime someone does anything for the first time being Black, there's this thing is called representation.
Yeah.
And representation is important. And what it does is it shows that in this industry, we're there. We've arrived, and that it's possible for anyone who looks like us to be able to accomplish something like that. And representation is what has gotten him to be able to be the first Black coach to win a championship like this. So as long as we continue to represent where we are, we have to show our Black community that we're here, we've showed up, and not only are we showing up, but we seem to be winning, y'all, in every field we get into. So congratulations, bro. Super proud of you.
I was gonna say it's kind of sad that we're still having first black anythings, but as long as they are the first black anything, they should be celebrated for that because you broke down barriers and doors and had to fight tooth and nail to get there. And like she said, it shows other kids in the next generation that, hey, you can be successful without being a ball player. Even if you aren't on the field, you can still win and be, you know, top in your field.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And for me, you know, I mean, a couple of firsts. I was the first black president of my high school. I was also the first black public address announcer for the NBA franchise Atlanta Hawks. So I think that it's very important that you have people that acknowledge that because, I mean, it's 156 years. That goes without saying that, you know, it's about damn time. And you know, we hope that he wins. I think it's even more amazing the fact that the man is 38 years old and he already got 6 kids. Ooh. Now, let me tell you something. He putting everything into that football squad. You know what I'm saying?
Well, best of luck to Marcus Freeman and the Fighting Irish in the championship game next Monday. Now, my girl Beyonce, speaking of winning, is already winning in 2025. Rolling Stone just named her album Lemonade the greatest album of the 21st century. Okay, y'all? The 21st century, not of all time. So from January 2001 to present time. Lemonade includes classics like Formation, Sorry, Don't Hurt Yourself, and Freedom featuring Kendrick Lamar. Now, do y'all agree that Lemonade is the greatest album of the 21st century? Or, you know, there's a list of some other albums on here like Stankonia, even Good Kid, Mad City from Kendrick, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Now, I would have put My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a little bit higher up on the list. I actually was listening to that this weekend. So what do y'all think? Beyonce deserve it or no?
I'll give it to Beyonce because when I look at the brand that they've created and the things she's been able to do, I mean, the album is amazing, and I think her movement is amazing. She got shunned from the Country Music Awards, so she had her own personal Super Bowl. It don't get no bigger than that.
Yeah, and B just has that it factor. Some people just got it. She got it. So it's like almost whatever she touches turns gold. She only had that one album that actually flopped, came back and killed it, went on tour. So it's like, you know, she has that whole, you know, beehive,
right.
But everything she touches turns gold. So it's Beyonce. It's like, how do you go against someone who's like her? She's representation for the black community. She always tends to show up and represent for us. And she's also, you know, a woman who I believe has been a good role model. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's been a family person, a businesswoman. She comes from a good background of a family. So everything about B just gives me just good.
I can tell you done had that Red Bull tonight, baby.
I sure have.
You was going up. You was going ham tonight. Listen, man, Beyonce is the only person on that list that can shut down a mall, okay? When you talk about the body of work, you have to look at the superstar power. I mean, no offense to Kendrick or to anybody else on that list, but if Beyonce was to walk in here right now, this whole place would shut down. And I think that's what makes
would break.
The internet would break. I mean, we already got lots of viewers on Fox Soul, but if Beyonce was to be sitting right here, that's why she is one of the greatest entertainers of all time.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. And tomorrow is D-Day or B-Day. During Beyonce's halftime show on Christmas Day, she announced something was coming on January 14th. What do y'all think Beyonce is announcing tomorrow?
She pregnant!
I don't think it's a pregnancy.
World tour!
She's definitely not pregnant. It's probably a tour. I don't think it's a new album. I think it's probably a tour. Yeah, what else would it be? She's not pregnant. She's now dropping another album. So I would think it's just another world tour. And I think this is the perfect time. You got Jay-Z facing these allegations. You got, you know, Blue Ivy doing her thing in the industry as far as just being on the big screen. I think it's perfect time for her to go on tour. And, you know, might be something that brings them some solace in this space that they're going through.
Yeah.
All right, so Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are receiving backlash for, get this, helping out at the fires in Cali. That's right.
Yeah, actress Justine Bateman, the sister of actor Jason Bateman, has accused the royal couple of being ambulance chasers and disaster tourists.
Like, it's important to note, Pasadena's mayor said Harry and Meghan were actually wearing masks and serving food anonymously early in the day before a TV crew recognized them. Now, Meghan was also born in LA. She also postponed the release of her new Netflix show because of the fires. We were all looking forward to it. I thought that was admirable. So why is there's always so much backlash whenever Meghan Markle is concerned or whenever she comes out? Of course, Dr. Brian, you had some strong opinions on your LA native when I told you I was excited about her documentary, and now, of course, whenever she comes out, she gets some backlash. Why do you think that?
Well, you know, again, I think that this time for LA is a time of an extreme crisis. I think that anybody that comes out shouldn't get backlash. I think anyone who comes out should be getting a thank you, a act of gratitude. We have a lot of celebrities that are out there. We have Nick Cannon, we have The Game, JC On, myself, my foundation is doing something. So I think that this should have nothing to do with someone's personal likability towards Meghan. This should have everything to do with the fact that her and Harry are out there doing what they've always done. They've always been big on community service. They've always been big on giving back and helping. And this is just within their nature as a couple and even as individuals before they got married. So thank you for helping the city. I know you're a native as well. But thank you, because we need it. We definitely need it.
Yeah, and like you said, she's a native to LA, so I think that's like common. If something was to go down in Atlanta, I know me and Ryan pulling up, we're gonna get back because that's our community, that's our home. We wanna help those in need. But I don't understand why Kate Middleton doesn't get the backlash that Meghan always gets. Like, it's just always, and I think, honestly, it's blacklash because she black. I think that's what it is. But, you know, what you think, Ryan?
I think anytime that anybody does something when they can say, you know, people always say, what can I do? Well, let me know if I can do anything. Let me know if I can do anything. People who do, they just do. Right? You just show up. They decide to come together, and like they said, they had on a mask, and then all of a sudden everybody's, oh my God, that's Meghan and Prince Harry, and they had to do what they had to do, but they showed up as opposed to just posting pictures of different things and saying, oh, it's like the Red Cross. All of a sudden, they say, do what you ever need to do to donate to the Red Cross. We're trying to help these people. I mean, what, 32,000 acres were burned up, you know. I was listening to something about the fire chief, and he was saying basically you would have needed 3 fire trucks for all of the houses, meaning like you needed 26,000 fire trucks. And he said, I don't think we have 26,000 fire trucks in the whole state of California. So they called it the unstoppable fire. No matter what they could have done, they could not have stopped this thing. So anybody who came out to support, I applaud them.
We don't have enough fire trucks. We have Canada, we have Mexico, we have we have different states coming in with firefighters. We have different countries coming in with firefighters. We have allies. This is why allyship is so important. So,
and shout out to Matt Barnett, the Dream Center. They've been doing really, really good work. We sent $100,000 this weekend to the Dream Center.
Oh, kudos.
To make sure that they're good.
Up next, we politicking. Everybody's talking about who showed up to Jimmy Carter's funeral and who didn't. We discuss that next on Truth Talks.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first-round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
We are back with more Truth Talks, and everyone has been talking about former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. All 5 living presidents and their wives almost attended the service, except one. Take a look.
Current President Joe Biden, President-elect Donald Trump, and former Presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton all attended with their wives. Barack Obama attended the funeral but was noticeably alone. Michelle Obama was not in attendance, and it's unclear why she didn't attend.
Now, I like to extend the former First Lady some real grace. Her own mother, who lived with them for years and years, passed away just last May. And maybe she wasn't mentally prepared for another funeral. But many are asking why she wasn't in attendance. Why does this truth has to be the talk of the entire funeral? Because it was a really good service, but this is honestly what it is. But what are your thoughts about Michelle and why she wasn't there?
I feel like what you said, when you're dealing with your own grief, to go to another funeral is triggering. So I feel like that's probably why she didn't go. But then I also have always been one to be like, going to people's funerals that you really didn't know is kind of weird and creepy. It's like real nosy. You just going to talk and see what everybody wearing and how people fall out.
My mama used to go in the newspaper and she'd be like, ooh, you know such and such done died.
And go to their funeral.
She'd go to every wake. I'm like, what you doing this Friday? I got 3 wakes in there to go to. That lady, she was at the hospital. I'm like, you don't know that lady? You don't know that lady.
That's weird, and we need to stop doing that. It's like weddings. Don't just be crashing people's funerals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just think grief is real, and grief comes in pockets, and 1 month is definitely not enough time to be able to process grief and go to another funeral when it has to do with someone as close as your mother. So I think that, you know, she stayed behind because she needed to process her grief with her mom and go through that. I think that she has every right. And I just think people are not privy to certain things of why people do what they do. You know, it's like, let her have her time. And if it wasn't her mom, which it probably was, it still ain't none of your business. Right. She didn't attend. She had something to do.
Well, you know who was a real G? Karen Pence. She refused to stand up and acknowledge Donald Trump or his wife. And I can't say that, you know, many people are upset with her for that, because Trump called for her husband to be killed during the insurrection. Also, looking at the seating chart, Michelle would have been sitting next to Donald Trump, y'all. Do y'all think that that's the real tea of why she didn't attend?
Yeah, if you got somebody that said you look like a man.
Right, I'm not sitting next to you.
And came on record and had all of their supporters saying you look like a man, you know, why would you go in there and sit next to them? Right. I mean, I think, you know, how they looked at how Kamala was looking at everybody. Like, the whole world was watching how everybody was interacting in his funeral. Like, Melania was just kind of on the end, not really being paid any attention to whatsoever. It was kind of like she was just like the plus one.
Always like
you know, but everybody else was kind of like doing their own thing. But that'd have been tough for me if I know somebody had really just dogged me out to the whole entire world to go up there and have to sit next to them. That's why
I mean, I don't think that was the reason, though.
Yeah, I don't think that was the reason, because I know Barack Obama, like, he's a man's man. Like, he wouldn't have let his wife sit there. He'd have sat right there, and then Michelle would have sat there. But what the internet really was going crazy over was like, where's Michelle when you need her? He's up there frolicking and lollygagging with Donald Trump. I don't think that would have happened either. But I do think it had a lot to do with her mother. Like, when Barack was on another podcast, he talked about how involved she was, that she was more of a part of a family than a mother-in-law. Yeah, and so I think that was very difficult.
And Michelle's a class act. Her and Barack are very professional. Yeah. You know, they understand what comes with the territory of being in politics and being a president, and whether they like Big T or not, that's still a constituent of theirs. I can't see Michelle not attending the event because Trump is there. I just know that she has more of an elegance to her. She would have came if she felt it was something that she was able to do, or she didn't have something she felt was more of a priority. And to your point, Barack might have sat her somewhere else, not just because Donald Trump said you like a man, just because that's just something that a husband does. He sits you on the side of him and sits himself next to the man, because Barack is a class act. They're a very classy family. I can't see them not attending something because anyone's there.
Where is the statement? There always is a statement. By now, somebody would have said something, right? If she would have said something by now. Like, I mean, I'm always saying that there's a very viral clip where Barack is somewhere and he's talking to somebody. I forgot who the lady was, but he's getting way too chatty with her, and Michelle actually moves him over and gets in between them. So I think there's going to be something forthcoming, because everybody reacts to social media. Somebody's going to say something, either a spokesperson or somebody from the family. But come on, y'all. It's weird. Everybody was there.
But I don't think that she owes anybody an explanation.
Nobody ever said anything because they owe anybody. She didn't even know Jimmy Carter
for real, probably. Like, why do I have to go? I don't owe Jimmy. Jimmy don't want an explanation, so why y'all want one?
Yeah, and not only that, they're no longer in office. Yeah. They are our preceding president and first lady. Again, even if they were in office, some things are just not privy. Some things should be just left as private. And she has the right to not be able to say, look, I didn't attend. And I hope she doesn't address it. Girl, you didn't come because you didn't come. Your husband was there. Y'all are as one. He represented both y'all, and that's enough. But I want to say this. What the real question is, what the heck was Barack and Big T talking about sitting down? Like, they were kikiing and laughing. They had a whole conversation.
Now, as Michelle, I would have been more upset about them smiles and you showing all your teeth with a man who was talking smack about me. What is you kikiing about at this point? Where is the loyalty in the house? Now, Barack, you got some answering to do.
No, now, they had a forensic lip reader, which I didn't even know that was a damn job.
Oh, forensic
lip reader who said that Donald Trump was telling Barack that he wanted to talk to him about something that was very important later on. That's what the forensic lip reader was saying. And so I'm curious to what that might have been.
So Barack just started laughing because he said, I want to talk to you about something that's later on. And Barack said, that's so funny. What's nothing funny about talking about something later on?
The bigger issue is we have a president who put a spoof on his Instagram about what people said. And I was like, yo, this is the president's Instagram. And then the spoof,
what did it say?
It was just
we got to show it later on.
Yeah, I have to show it to you, but it was just like, I'm the best, and I'm the, you know what I mean? You know how people do those voiceovers?
Oh, it's a voiceover with Obama saying that.
I mean, you're the best, and I mean, you won fair and square. I don't know why she's mad. So it was, but to see it on the president of the United States Instagram, knowing that it's a spoof and people are sharing it, and I think it was over 103,000 shares by the time I seen it. It was just unique. We live in some very unique times, but I will say this: it was actually good to see them being lighthearted because this presidential election was just so strong and arduous. So I just think it was really good for American people. I think they represented what black and white should probably look like when people disagree.
What professionalism looks like. These are two presidents. I mean, campaigning and running for office comes with scrutiny and rhetoric and a negative narrative. We don't have to dislike each other. So what? We ran the campaign. We both were in office. We knew that we were going to say things negative about each other. It comes with the territory. What's up, Willie? How you doing? Good to see you, buddy. Why do we have to be in a place of upsetness or unclassed and untasteless? We don't have to be that way.
All right, y'all. After the break, we're talking about what it's like to be the parent of a child who thinks they were born in the wrong body. Transparenting is up next on Truth Talks.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
How would you describe yourself?
I am a teenage girl. I'm also a soccer player. I'm also an artist. I'd like to think I'm funny. I love hanging out with my friends. I'm also transgender, and I'm proud of that. But you know, in the end, all these things come together and really just make me Jazz. So I am Jazz.
And we're back with more Truth Talks, and that was Jazz Jennings, a reality star and transgender woman who starred in the TLC series I Am Jazz. Now, Jazz apparently asked her mother at 2 years old when the fairy was going to change her from a boy to a girl. And we're tackling the very sensitive subject of what's it like to be the parent of someone who is transgender.
Now, people who identify as transgender make up just about 0.6% of the U.S. population, or roughly 1.6 million people. That's according to the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law.
Now, when we say trans throughout this episode, it could be or mean the following: transgender or transsexual, and there is a difference. Let's start here with a few quick definitions. Let's take a look.
Definitions. A. Transgender. A person who identifies as a gender that differs from the sex they were assigned at birth. B. Transsexual. A person who has undergone medical treatments such as hormone therapy or surgery to physically transition to their identified gender.
All right, so let's start with this. Willie, as the only other parent on the show, what would be your reaction if one of your children came to you and told you they were trans or in the wrong body?
Initially, I'd probably be shocked, right? I would just be totally shocked. Had this conversation on my podcast, the Love You More show, and I sat down with somebody who went through the same journey. And I'll be very honest with you, I'll be shocked. But my second response would be, the Bible says, in all our getting, get understanding. And I would begin to ask God how to parent this child. And I wouldn't go back on it as if it was just something that they're going through. This would be something that we would go through.
Right.
That's so beautiful.
Yep, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a very special guest joining us to talk about what it's like when a child comes to you and tells you they're in the wrong body. Gerald Thompson, welcome to Truth Talks.
Hello.
Hi, Gerald.
Hello.
Hi, Gerald.
Yeah. Hey, Gerald.
So you were the father of twins, born as one boy and one girl, but you now have two sons who are 27 years old. So tell us what happened when your daughter was 17 and came to you with her revelation.
Well, we were, you know, I often try to make sure I had individual time with each of my kids because, of course, with twins, a lot of times you just kind of clump it in, like I'm spending time with the twins. So it's important to make sure that you have father-son time, father-daughter time. So during one of those times when I was having father-daughter time, we actually decided we were going to watch a movie together. And she chose to let me know in that time that there are a few things I should know. One, that her friends don't call her by the name that I gave her, and they call her by a male name. And I just kind of listened, and then, she went on to kind of tell me that she asked me, you know why I would go in the bathroom and be in there for hours with the lights off? And I said, no, I never really understood that. And I'd always ask you. And she said, because I don't feel that I see, myself when I look in the mirror. I see something different. I don't see, myself as a young lady. So, and it was just like you said, Willie, I was shocked. I just, I didn't, my daughter was always into sports, if anything, maybe a little more of a tomboy, but not masculine. So, and there are a lot of other words people have for that are rather offensive, so I won't use any of those, but I'll just say not masculine. Yeah. And, so it was kind of blindsided by the gender, the interest in changing gender. But yeah, it was shocking at first. And it took a little bit to process. And because of her being so young, she wanted immediate embracement. She wanted me to embrace it immediately. And it terrified me because it was the idea of, her hanging out with friends and deciding that, hey, I'm a man and I'm going to go into the men's restroom and I'm going to use the men's, and all of this is going to happen before any actual physical gender changing. So, so that terrified me. And it took a little bit of time for me to process it. But the one thing that was very clear to me is I had to make a clear decision, because this is also my daughter had also,
Gerald?
there was also a suicide. Yes.
Oh, Jared, I wanted to ask, I mean, first of all, wow, right? What an amazing job it seems like you did in supporting her, who is now him, as a parent. What was your immediate reaction as a parent after hearing the news, right? And then you were just talking about how you processed a lot of it. How do you process, right, that like your princess is no longer going to exist? It transitions into a prince or something different.
Yeah, so immediately it was shock, but then the processing journey was one of understanding that I was mourning a daughter and gaining a son. So I think the tough part was I didn't realize I was mourning a daughter, the loss of a daughter. And it probably would have been good for me to have had therapy at the time, but I did not choose to do that. I didn't think to do that. I didn't think I needed it. But in hindsight, it would have been very helpful and I would encourage any parent to embrace the idea of having some therapy.
Yeah.
But for me, in my journey, it was shock, and then it went immediately to a period of grief and I didn't know why I was grieving. I didn't know that I was grieving. I just felt this really horrible feeling as if I lost a loved one. And it didn't change until I realized I was gaining a new son.
I like how you put that spin on that. But Dr. B, not all parents are supportive like that of their children when they're going through something like this. Talk about the effects of this and how it can have on a parent as a psychological, in a psychological way, like who had dreams of their child doing certain things based on the sex they were born.
Yeah. And Gerald hit it perfectly. He said grief. Grief is usually the first thing that these parents experience, because in their perspective, they are losing their relationship they had with their daughter or son, and that it is a new relationship you have to build with what they transgender into. The other thing is shame and guilt. A lot of parents go into shame. Am I a bad parent? Did I do something wrong? What role did I play in this? Did I not do enough? Did I do too much? Did I let him or her play with too many Barbie dolls or be too tomboyish? When it's really boils down to none of that. It boils down to this child, coming into processing what they feel and don't feel comfortable in based on nature and sometimes nurture. So, Gerald, just curious, like, did you process some of that shame and that guilt through this process?
I did, and I tried to figure out where things might have gone off the rails, so to speak, and tried to retrace steps. When could this have happened, so to speak? And it in the journey, I realized that one, my belief system, and this is something I had to make. This is a personal choice. I had to prioritize the love and support for my child over my belief system.
Come on.
Because I was literally raised to, men are with women, women are with men. This is just that's, and for me it was a struggle because I felt like I could not support it until I understood it.
Wow.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that you may never understand it, and you don't have to understand it to support and love your child.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, Gerald.
Yeah. So.
Gerald, number one, thank you so much for your bravery, and we appreciate you deeming this a safe space. Gerald, I want to know this. Like, what was the response from your other child? Like, how did he take the news, and like, how did that impact you, and what did that decision do for them as well? Like with them being twins, like how did he take it?
Well, it was interesting. Now, so being that they're twins, the level of closeness is like the level of being almost one was always there. So I was shocked when I had conversations with my son that he always felt like he had a brother.
Oh, wow.
That he supported, my new son on their journey, and that, it was just like not even a thing. So, and I was just shocked. So like I said, I was still trying to process it. I was, my belief system has not changed. And that's why I say that it's important as a parent to know it's okay for you to still believe what you believe, and what, your belief system does not have to change for you to love and support your child.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely important to love the child, like you're saying, Gerald, and not the gender role that they identify with. It's still your baby at the end of the day.
100%.
Of gender, what about people who don't believe gender matters at all or even is a real thing? We've all seen those gender reveal videos. Let's take a look at this one.
Hey, due, uno.
One, two, three. That's a girl! Oh my God! What the heck? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's common now in culture to have these extravagant gender reveal parties and celebrations, but there are some people who believe we should do away with identifying gender at birth at all, altogether, and let the individual decide. Do y'all think gender is a social construct or is gender biology?
First of all, gender is a social construct. Gender is what gender role you identify with in the world, right? Your sex is biological. It is your chromosome. It has to do with your hormone level. And so they're two different things. That's why transsexual is someone who has had a sex change, although it doesn't change their chromosome. Transgender is someone who says, I am still physically, say, a woman, but I identify more with the role of a man or a boy. So gender is definitely socially constructive, and then the sex is definitely more biological.
Okay, so I always thought that gender was the sex, like the gender was whatever part you were
Gender's
assigned.
the role. Gender's the role.
Because I was thinking at first, like, well, gender has to be biological because even in nature, in plants, in animals, they're two different genders. And I don't think that they have a social construct that's telling them what to do. So I'm like, well, it has to be on a biological level. But I do understand not identifying with your assignment because I am convinced that I was assigned to be rich at birth, okay? And I'm still waiting on it.
There you go.
Listen,
there
so,
you go.
I mean, great conversation. I like the bridge that we have. And I get that we're living in an evolved society. But why does it seem that the number of people born in the wrong body has increased dramatically since we started growing up? Like, what has changed from a biological perspective to cause this? Or is this simply like seeing so many examples on social media, all of these new opportunities that you have to fit in some opportunity that didn't exist when we were coming up as children?
I think
I
think that people just were afraid to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the stigma that is attached to something like that, and we've had pastors on before who talked about how they were raised and how they were brought up in traditional type churches, that they were shunned or they tried to pray it away, or even in some of the things that we talked about, was it a fad? Was it just a growing phase? So I think people just weren't going to come out and talk about it because they just felt like they were going to be ostracized.
Yeah. It goes back to what I said earlier, representation, right? Representation frees other people who you represent. And when you get folks who are transgender or transsexuals who are now out, they are a representation for the ones, like Ryan said, who've always felt some internal struggle, but had that fear, or it was taboo to say, I feel different. I don't identify with this role. I don't want to be this sex or this gender. And now you have representation, although they're only 6% of our population, you still have somebody who's representing you if you identify with that.
Yeah,
and
I think
people.
I think it does free people, and I think that our society is still even struggling with representation and allowing all the people of the LGBTQ+I community to be seen and hold positions. So think about having to choose between living your life out loud or holding political office, or living your life out loud and being an artist of some sort. You feel like, okay, I want to chase my dreams, but if I really show the world who I am, I might lose the opportunity to do so. So I think that's why people back then were a lot more conservative with showing it or being open about it.
Yeah, and seeing this like up close with a family member, well, a close friend who's really a family member, to see her turn into like my friend's son, it was something that we had to adapt to. Like when I was sitting with Carlton and talking to him, he was like, I literally had to mourn, like as Gerald said, I had to mourn. I had to think about that I'm never gonna walk her down the aisle. Like I had to think about the fact that she won't have on this pretty white dress. When he had this girl, that's what he believed. And he had 2 other sons. Right. So now he has 3 sons, and they had to adapt and they had to learn. And us as a family, because they were really afraid to tell me because of my Christian values. And I had to let them know that I will not let my Christianity not love the humanity in Taylor. And we're learning to, and we've learned to love. And that was one of the first people that I brought on because I understood that this is different for us, but we have to learn it. Yeah.
So, Gerald, I have a question for you. I know that you're hanging on with us. You know, I'm a girl dad. You know, Willie's a girl dad. You were a girl dad. Kobe brought it out, and everybody was girl dads. I've been doing a father-daughter dance for 20 years, where I bring daddies and daughters together from all ages, from 4 to in their 50s. What was your biggest hurdle in your adjustment to going from having a daddy-daughter day and a daddy-daughter date to now having a son with your child's transgender decision?
You know, I think the biggest adjustment was understanding it wasn't about me.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
You know, once I understood it wasn't about me, everything got easy. The hardest part was everything I thought and believed and everything I wanted for my child, as opposed to understanding that my child is not going to be a child forever.
Right.
And when they get to that point where they know who they are and they know how they, you know, what they are, then I have to embrace them and love them and support them and protect them. So once I moved myself out of the way and everything that I wanted and everything I believed and I out of this situation, it allowed me to see very clearly what is important.
And Gerald, what I love what you said most was you said protect them. Right?
Absolutely.
Protect them. Because as a parent, it's like regardless of your decision on what you identify with, I'm still a father. And I still have a role of protection, provision, and providing. And that role covers everybody.
And removing yourself, like you said, because sometimes grief can be selfish. When we grieve, even losing someone in life, we think about how we don't get to do this with them. But like you said, you had to remove yourself from it and say, well, now I get to be there for them in this way. So that's pretty big of you.
And so we were actually talking about biological, like when it came to our family member, there were some things that women had that she just didn't have. Like she had never had a cycle. And it was just some, like biologically, there were some different things going on, and that's also why she identified
played a role in it
as a, you know, as a guy.
So stay with us. We got more of this after the break. Are some parents supporting their trans kids because it's simply good PR? You know some people that we're going to be talking about. That's next on Truth Talks.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.
When did you start dressing as a girl? Was it in high school?
Immediately after. I was a drag queen because there were things that I was trying to conceal from the elders.
From the who?
From the elders.
It hurts my heart because I seen Boo have been through so many trials and tribulations, and I just want my child to know that I am there to lift you up in any kind of way that I can.
And True Talks is back, and we're talking about what it's like to be the parent of someone who's transgender. Early in the show, we heard from rapper Boosie, who several years ago called out NBA superstar Dwayne Wade about his daughter Zaya, who is trans. So, Gerald, what is your response when you see someone like Boosie responding to Dwayne Wade's trans child?
I think people need to be a little more sensitive to situations that they're not in. First of all, I think we live in a society where everyone just feels like they have the right to comment, so they should. And I don't necessarily think everyone, though you may have the right, I don't necessarily believe you should. Especially if you have never stood in those shoes. You know, it's very easy to talk about what should and shouldn't happen when you're not in the shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I was going to ask really quick, do you think that it might help to have these conversations with your child earlier on to help with the whole family processing this, so it's not just a shock or coming on at one time? Because some people are like, maybe children shouldn't talk about this and parents shouldn't allow their children to express this at earlier ages, but if they do it younger, do you think that gives everybody time to adapt and process it?
I think it's I don't know that there's a one size fits all answer to that. I think it depends on each individual family. You know, for my family, I would elect to say, if my child came to me at a young age, to engage them, you know, to the best of my ability without taking it too adult, but to engage them on the level that they're at, to understand it a little better, to help them understand more about themselves. Yes, that would be my choice. Yeah.
Gerald, listen, just filled with wisdom. We really appreciate you being here and being so hot, honest, open, and transparent. We appreciate it. You know, you touched a little bit about your personal beliefs, and I figure you kind of alluded to your religious belief. So how did you reconcile your thoughts about God and how things are supposed to be versus the way that they actually were in your home? Like, how did you bridge that gap between your personal beliefs and what was going on at home?
I struggled with it initially. But like I said, once I made it up in my mind that my first priority was loving, supporting, and protecting my child, everything became simple at that point.
Indeed.
And it didn't necessarily change my belief. And I'll bring up another very controversial example of that. When they talk about female boxers fighting a transgender boxer, for example, transgender male boxer who is transitioned to be female. You know, I'm a parent of a transgender child who's grown now, so I shouldn't keep saying child, but grown.
Still your baby.
Still your child. But exactly. But but my feelings on that topic of, hey, should a male boxer who's transitioned to be female be able to box against another female boxer? My feeling on it is no.
Right.
And I think they have to find a better way to match performance, you know, but that's just my own opinion on it. But it's not just a blanket, oh, anything and all things transgender, I just roll with. That's not necessarily my belief. But the one thing that I won't waver on is loving, supporting, and protecting my child, right? So I give myself the grace to still believe and hold to my belief system, but not to the point where it doesn't allow me to love, protect, and, you know, and support my child.
Gerald, I got to ask you this. Did you pray? Were you praying like, God, can you change this initially? Like, what was your prayer direction in these times? Like, was it like, God, help me to support? But initially, was it like, God, is this something that you can change for me? Like, what was that prayer direction like?
You know, I don't think I ever prayed to God that God would change it. What I did pray to God was that my child was making the right decision.
Got it.
I love that.
I prayed to God about that. And I was deathly afraid that they may not be making the right decision. So, but it didn't take too long before I realized that they had made the right decision, and I was 1,000% in support and stand by them, and went through that process of mourning. And now I think I look back on it, and it's almost I couldn't imagine them being anything but my son. So.
Wow.
So, Gerald, we're up against the break here, but I got to get this in. So what are your thoughts on the support from D. Wade and his wife, actress Gabrielle Union, to encourage that child so young, or is this just good PR for them to appear as evolved parents?
I think they're doing, I can only speak from my perspective. I would do the same. I think the tough part about them is that they are public. I'm not.
Yeah.
So the things that they do play out in the public eye. The things that they do, they have to deal with a publicist to make sure certain, their level of protection goes into having a great publicist. My level of protection had nothing to do with a publicist. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's easy once again to sit outside of their shoes and talk about what they should and shouldn't do, but I'm not in their shoes to be able to know what it feels like to have millions of people who are fans who are going to feel a certain way about your decisions on how you want to love and support your child,
Gerald, can you explain Gerald, can you explain to us what it was like to do the doctor consultations for your then daughter's double mastectomy and uterine removal?
That was really hard, because I think if I might have had a little more time to process the journey and understand the journey of that my child was going through, then it might have gone over a little easier for me. But it required me to tuck in my feelings, my emotions, my everything, because I literally had to grab a seat when I attended the consult about the bottom surgery. I would have passed out if the doctor had continued talking and I didn't have a seat. So it was that difficult for me. But once again, it required me reaching deep and saying, this isn't about me. This is about my child.
Was the recovery of the surgery challenging for him?
No, it actually wasn't.
Wow.
I won't say it wasn't. It did not appear to be that it was. And he handled it with extreme grace and just courage and strength. So.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people think that Boosie thinks a child making this decision at a young age is too soon. My question is, when does a child start to know, or when did your son let you know that he knew these and was having these thoughts? Does a 2-year-old like Jazz Jennings that we saw earlier truly know that they're in the wrong body at a young age like 2?
I mean, so this is the thing, right? The child developmental stage is between 1 and 5. They don't have enough insight to understand what they want to identify with, because they don't understand roles. So that's when learned behavior is most prominent. So they're learning by their environment, and they're learning what roles look like, and they're learning what role that they are in. And so a lot of that between 1 and 5 is learned behavior. Children don't have the insight at 2 years old to say, I don't feel right in this body.
So we got more when we come back after the break, so don't go anywhere. It's True Talks.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
As we work to get through these times together, you may not be thinking about blood donation, but blood is needed to save the lives of people who are sick with a range of illnesses. It's easy and safe to give. If you are in good health, please donate. We need heroes now. Visit redcrossblood.org to schedule an appointment.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
And we are back on Truth Talks. Of course, we usually would do our relationship segment, Hit It or Quit It now, but you know what? We got Gerald here, so I got to ask him as he is still coming to us live from LA. You know, Gerald, how did your relationship advice change from having daughters to now having, you know, sons, or a daughter and a son? How did that change for you? Because to me, the relationship advice I give my son and my daughters are two totally different things.
Yeah, you know, it evolved. I can't say it was just like an abrupt change. It evolved as I began to embrace my new son as my son. My advice, my conversation, my everything began to normalize as it would having a conversation with a son. That's a simple answer to it.
Yeah.
Interesting scenarios where, for example, you're going to work out and all of a sudden you're both going to the same locker room.
Whoa.
Wow. Yes, so there's definitely some interesting scenarios that play out, but all of which have been extremely comfortable. So nothing strange. Nothing to see here.
All right. Now, you can't drive until age 16. You can't drink until age 21. You can't even vote until age 18, but there's no requirements on gender reassignment. Do you think the government needs to step in with legislation, something that could easily happen in the upcoming administration, or just simply my body, my choice, period?
Yeah.
Guys?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, my stance is I don't think the government has a right to speak on anybody's body and what they do to their body. Male, woman, transsexual, transgender. I think that is your home, and you get to decide what goes on in your house.
Yeah, I disagree. I believe that there should be some form of regulation. I think your corneal cortex ain't even all the way together until you're like 25, 26. I think there has to be some form of legislation to make sure that, you know, if these young people get an opportunity to change their mind or anything, I think there has to be something in place somehow.
What stage of the transition is your son at now, and how difficult will it be to finish the transition while Trump is in office? Do you think that will have any effect?
I'll take the second part of the question. I do think it'll be difficult for anyone who's in the midst of their transition. And it, you know, for obvious reasons, clearly, you know, this new administration does not have much love or interest for anyone who is transgender. It's just, it made that very clear. In terms of my son's personal journey, I won't comment on that. But what I will say is that anyone who is midway, somewhere along the way in that journey between top and bottom surgeries, yeah, they should probably be, you know, concerned right now.
So Gerald, you know, there's somebody who's either going to watch this on YouTube or on Fox Soul later on, and they're a parent and they're sitting there and they're going through this right now, and they may be in denial, they may be grieving like you were talking about, they have not sought out any therapy like you talked about. What would your advice be for that parent who's watching this show?
And this is just literally my personal advice. I know everyone has to do life the way they do life. Some people prioritize their beliefs over their love for their loved ones, and you know, I'm not one to do that. So the advice I would give, my personal advice would be, you know, to always prioritize your love for your child over all.
That's great advice.
That's just, you know, and I think the struggle for me and people that I've spoken with that have gone through a similar journey as a parent each of them have struggled because of their beliefs, because of the way they were raised, or because of their religion, or because of their spiritual way.
Well, Gerald, you know what? I know you were finishing your thought, but we want to thank you for joining the show and sharing your story and your journey with us tonight. We ran out of time, but coming up after this quick break, we got more show. We got more stuff. We got more stuff. Give it up for Gerald. Good night, everybody. Good night.
You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Good night.
Hopefully the show helps. Meet us in the comments.
Yeah. Meet us in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll continue the conversation there.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night,
Good
Gerald.
night, Gerald.
Good night, Bree.